Okay, here we are. We're back and we're going to continue 10-1, 10-2. Last time we talked, the central angle and the arc were equal. Then we had an inscribed angle where the arc was twice as big. Now we're going to not move from the center. We're not going to be on the circle, but now we're going to move to somewhere in between. And just like in between, we think of midpoint formula. Well, the angle in between the outer arcs is nothing but an average. This angle, SVR, is congruent to angle TVQ. Why are those angles congruent? Yeah, think. Why are they congruent? Right, because they're vertical angles. But if you look, this arc is definitely a different size than this arc. So we're going to add the two together and divide by 2, and we get the average. And like any formula, if you write the formula out, you can substitute in anything you know. If I know the angle, we can put in the arcs. If we know the arcs, we can put them in and solve for the angle. These two angles is the sum of arc 1 plus arc 2. These two vertical angles is arc 3 plus arc 4, and you divide them by 2. So let's work an example. Given that we're finding x, x has something to do with this arc and this arc. The angle equals 1/2 arc 1 plus arc 2. Angle x equals 1/2 arc 1 arc 2. 129 plus 71. Angle x equals 1/2. 129 plus 71, well, 1 and 9 is 10. 7, 8, 9, 10, and 200. 1/2 of 200. Angle x equals 100 degrees. Okay, 1/2 arc 1 plus arc 2. 129 plus 71. Adding them together, we have 200. Half of 200 equals 100. Next example, same thing. The measure of the angle equals arc 1 plus arc 2. This time they're giving me the angle measure. (52) plus x. Don't forget, you're taking half of it. 40 degrees equals 1/2 of 52 plus x. The easiest way to get rid of the half is to multiply both sides by 2. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other, and we end up with 80 degrees equals 52 plus x. Subtract 52, subtract 52, and we get x is simply 28 degrees. Okay, let's do another one. Hey, this time I'm looking and we're saying this is not in the middle, it's on the circle, and this is where we end up with big, and this is the small. Inscribed angles, don't forget the angle is smaller than the intercepted arc. Remember, you can always go back and highlight. The angle is biting off the bigger arc. So 106 is equal to 2 times A. Divide each side by 2, and we get angle A is nothing but 53 degrees. So you have to look at every question individually to see what is it that they're giving me now. Okay, this time they're giving me the angle that they're looking for, and they're giving me the 2 arcs that correspond to these angles. So we have the measure of the angle is equal to 1/2 arc 1 plus arc 2. X is what we're looking for, is equal to 1/2 43 plus 85. 43 and 85 is simply 128 degrees. 1/2 of 128, X is equal to 64 degrees. All right, so let's pick a problem that might be a little bit tougher. All right. I know everybody wants number 7, right? So let's look at number 7. Number 7. They're pointing to this angle here. This angle has something to do with this arc. I'm going to put a dot so we know that they're looking at this angle. All right, and then they're giving me this angle down here. This angle has something to do with the same exact arc. So, what do we know about this angle and this angle? If they're both biting off the same arc, then these 2 angles must be congruent. Let me say that again. If this angle and this angle are both biting off the same arc, then this angle must be congruent to this angle. 2x plus 11 is equal to 4x minus 30. And solve. Let's look at number 5. Let's backtrack. This one's a little bit more difficult to see, but again, is this a central angle, an inscribed angle, or somewhere in between? Well, this angle is in between this arc and this arc. And what they're telling me is that this is 40 degrees. So first, if we know this is 40 degrees, and these legs are biting off this arc, then that's an inscribed angle, and the angle is smaller than the arc. And if this is 40 degrees, this angle, what must the bigger arc be? Did you say 80 degrees? Well, then you would be correct, because the angle is smaller, so 2 times the smaller angle is going to give me 80 degrees, which is the measure of this arc. Now we have one arc, we have the second arc, and then we can simply add them together and divide by 2. 80 degrees plus 40 degrees. Take a half of it, and that's going to equal x degrees. Okay, so you're going to finish this page take a photo and submit it to me. If you do not have a printer to print off the form, then you'll have to work the problems on paper. Don't forget to draw the pictures. Complete Math Nation Practice Book 10, 1 and 2. Talk to you soon.